And now, this Flynn story is off the hook. Oh, so this is what I was saying. I started going down this road and then I got distracted by all the lies. It's very distracting. However, Flynn was on the airplane. When they came down here to Palm Beach this weekend, Flynn was on the aeroplane with Trump and Abe and the wives. And Trump stuck his head out the window, out the door. They said, "What are you going to do about Michael Flynn?" Because he was in contact with the Russians during the exact time that Obama had put sanctions on the Russians, because the Russians had hacked into our voter rolls and hacked into the DNC. And so we put sanctions. We kicked out 35 diplomats, believing they were spies, and put sanctions on Russia, barring them from coming back. And so Trump said, they said, and now we know that Flynn was in touch with, Kislyak, who is the ambassador, the Russian guy who's the ambassador to the U.S. from Russia, and that they were on the phone 5 times, and that, yes, we do wiretap them, and there is a recording of their conversations, and in the recording of one of the conversations, they did explicitly talk about sanctions, and that's a violation of the Logan Act, which, we've never used. 1799 never have been used, which means there's no precedent. I say go for it and set some. Do you know what I'm saying? Because this is not a normal. I keep hashtagging under hashtag not normal. This is not normal, okay? But anyway, Flynn was on the plane. When they asked Trump, what are you going to do about Flynn? He said, what story are you talking about? They said the story about Flynn talking to the Russian ambassador during the exact day that Obama put the sanctions on, talking about sanctions. We wiretap those Russian ambassadors. You know that, right? Right? And we have the phone call. We have the conversation. So are you going to fire him? And go, I don't know anything about that story. I don't know. I never heard that story. I never saw that story. I don't know about that story. Meanwhile, there's an audio recording that and this Flynn guy, he is part of the National Security Council. They're the National Security Council. Their most important job is to protect national security and not be in turmoil. It's, it's been like watching disaster movies all weekend. It's like watching one on top of the other, on top of the other, on top of the other. Their most important job is to not be in turmoil. It's like 3 straight weeks of horror. 3 straight weeks of the worst horror you could possibly imagine. I mean, it's like, how long before the Trump administration unravels? Now there's actually bet taking going on in Las Vegas. Did you know that? About when he will be impeached? There's actual bet making. Okay? I don't have long before I unravel, that's for sure, because this stuff is not normal. And the crazy people out there, the crazy of the crazy, think that this is normal. They think that this is the way it's supposed to look. They think this is that lying like this, that saying the president will not be questioned. The president's word is gospel. The president is God.
In control would be a substantial understatement. We have equal branches of government in this country. The judiciary is not supreme. There's no such thing as judicial supremacy.
Oh my God!
What the judges did, both at the 9th and at the district level, was to take power for themselves that belonged squarely in the hands of the President of the United States.
Stephen, the 3 judges say you're flat wrong.
No, the 3 judges made a broad, overreaching statement. This is an ideological disagreement between those who believe we should have borders and should have controls, and those who believe there should be no borders and no controls.
No.
This is a judicial usurpation of power. The end result of this, though, is that our opponents, the media, and the whole world will soon see, as we begin to take further actions, that the powers of the president to protect our country are very substantial and will not be questioned. And
holy crap. How do you say that out loud? How do you say we have substantial powers, awesome powers? He even invoked the military, do you know? He said we have an awesome military, and our opponents and the media and other people will see that the power of the president shall not be questioned. You do get that this is Nazi stuff, right? You do. Now, there are people in this country that want Nazi stuff. There's no doubt about it. There are people in this country that are white supremacists. There are people in this country who are haters. They're the ones that are spray painting swastikas on cars in Boca Raton neighborhoods where 75-year-old Holocaust survivors live. And they targeted them on purpose. And that didn't make national news. It was only on the local, okay? And so I got to guess that this is happening across the country in many, many places. We know that deportations were stepped up this weekend, and nobody knows exactly what's going on there either, because the White House says, oh, this is all normal. This is normal what we're doing. This is the same stuff. And they keep saying, oh, it's exactly what Obama did. It's exactly what Obama. This is nothing remotely. And you know, since Marbury versus Madison, what was that, 1803? That's the first class you have when you go to, you don't even have to go to law school. If you take a political science class in undergraduate, for those of you listening who posted on my Facebook page and called me a C word, is the school you go to after high school, but before law school. It's the 4-year one. The law school's only 3. Okay, it's that school. And in that school, they have a class. And the very first thing you learn is this case called Marbury versus Madison. And of course, what it says is the Supreme Court can review anything Congress does and passes and the president signs for constitutionality, and that the court can review anything that the president does, including executive orders, to make sure it comports with the Constitution. And this did not. So says district court judges, so says an appellate court in the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals.